Welcome back, everyone. Next, we have Intelligent Biosolutions, Inc. It trades on the NASDAQ under the symbol INBS and is a medical technology company delivering intelligent, rapid, non-invasive testing solutions. Please welcome its president and CEO, Harry Simeonidis. Nice to see you, Harry.
Hey, Anna. Nice to see you as well.
All right, we are happy to have you on the Emerging Growth Conference. So why don't you give our audience an overview? Tell us about Intelligent Biosolutions and a bit about yourself.
Thank you, Anna. Look, Intelligent Biosolutions, as you did say, we're NASDAQ listed under the ticker code INBS. And like you said before, we are a company with non-invasive technology. And what we have currently is a drug screening device that allows individuals to be able to be tested for drugs in a non-invasive way. Rather than doing a urine test or a saliva test, we have the ability to do a rapid test on site within a few minutes and by just the sweat off the tip of your fingertips. We're a growing company. We acquired the company, the Intelligent Fingerprinting Solution in the UK. And then we're now starting to commercialize this product and taking it globally. With our plans to be in the US, hopefully by 2025. A little bit about myself. Look, I've been in the healthcare industry for over 30 years now. I spent approximately 23 of those years with GE Healthcare, with various roles throughout the globe. And I love bringing non-invasive technology or diagnostic technology as close as we can to the patient in an affordable way so they can do their testing real times and changing people's lives.
Absolutely. I'm sure it's a huge need. So talk a little bit about that and your intelligent fingerprinting drug screening system. What area is it trying to address and how is it different from other existing solutions out there?
Yeah, and what we're seeing is this is an emerging market that's growing. So currently it's approximately it will be about a $12 billion market in the year 2027 and is growing approximately 10 to 15% year on year. And what it does is it's there to screen people before they start work. So that's the main aspect. And we're trying to detect drugs like marijuana, cocaine use, methamphetamines, or opiates, which is one of the biggest problems that we're seeing around the world. And the difference in between our solution in terms of what is out there today, currently, if an individual needs to be drug screened before they start work, they will do either a urine test, which is very invasive, which sometimes requires the individual to urinate in a cup, and then sometimes they have to be observed when they're doing that. That's not a very nice way to do a drug test. Or they do a saliva test, which they put the good old swab, or they scrape saliva, or you have to draw into a little vial, and then they do the test there. Sometimes these tests can take days to get the result. Sometimes it can take hours. The difference here, and I kind of have it as an analogy, is when you're going to an airport and you're screening your luggage, you can see what's in your luggage straight away and you're cleared to board the plane. But current drug tests today is they screen and they send the test back to the lab and you only get the result 3 to 4 days later. And what's the benefit of that? Because the individual has just turned around and either flown that plane, driven that bus, drove that truck down the road, and they could be under the influence. Whereas ours gives you the ability in a non-invasive way to be able to just do your test on the tips of your fingertips. So they collect the sweat on a nice little cartridge, and within 10 minutes, you get the result to say whether you're positive or negative. And what that means is, are you clear or are you fit to do your job for the day? And that's the big difference that we're seeing. So currently, we've got hundreds of customers in the UK. This is where the product started. And we got companies like the big red buses. You've probably seen them on TV, those double-decker buses. They're using our drug screening device. And only as recently as a couple of days ago, we've also secured a company called P&O, which is the the big tourist one that people go on and they do their cruises. They are now using our technology and screening all their staff to ensure that they've got no drugs in their system. So as you can see, our technology gives the ability to screen the individual before they start work. And that's the key difference in between our solution and what else is out there in the market. The other thing is we're very affordable. We are as affordable, as cheap as some of the other solutions out there. And as you can see from the latest press release we've done, significantly cheaper if you outsource that service, because it's just the simplicity of our product that anyone can actually do this test, because we have a reader around that does all the hard work. It actually saves in terms of productivity, in terms of manpower and resources, and it has saved companies up to 90% on their current cost of their existing testing regime.
Wow, fascinating. Results in 10 minutes. So talk a little bit about your target markets. Which ones are your biggest target markets, and what's your strategy to penetrate them?
Okay, so our biggest target markets are companies. So this is companies that really, we would say in the blue-collar working segment, that they have workforces that are driving trucks, that have forklifts, flying planes. These are the customers is our target market. And it's the customers that are really focused on safety in the workplace, ensuring that their individuals and their employees are fit for work. They're not under the influence. This is the key target area that we're going. And the market for us, it's globally, because every country around the world, more and more now, are really looking at screening their employees before they start work. So our game plan here is to get the product within market, just like we did in the Asia Pacific region. We launched it in Australia early in Q2, and within 6 months. So this is bringing a product to market, and within 6 months, we've already acquired over 10 major customers, and we just announced another 2 recently as well, in terms of both in the construction area and into road construction as well. And the uptake has been enormous and very, very fast. Bringing a product into market is not easy, and it takes some time, especially when you do B2B kind of sales. But we've had the ability to actually capture that really, really fast. And it's because of how non-invasive, how easy the product is to use, and how accurate it is as well. Our go-to-market plan is very simple, is to expand the product throughout the world where there's a need, and the need is any company around the world that is doing this drug screening. And there's a couple aspects. Is we will either go via distribution, find a distributor who is in market currently, who is providing other services like urine or saliva test, and have them sell our product rather than the inferior product. So that's number one. Or number 2 is go direct where we feel that we can go direct. The plan for us, our biggest market opportunity right now is the US. The US represents approximately $4 to $5 billion worth of drug testing today. And we're in the process right now to get FDA approval so we can actually start selling in the US in the year 2025. And we'll be going via distributors or partners within the US for us to sell this product, because there is a need of a non-invasive, real-time, fast solution. But there's also the ability for us to hit the ground running will be better with people that are already in the industry, know the market, and have the people on the ground that can sell this product.
Well, Harry, since you launched that product in the APAC region in around 2023, the mid-2023s, how has the response been so far?
Yeah, like I said, it's been very, very exciting for us. Look, I've been in the healthcare industry for a while, and I've actually seen products. When you first introduce a product, it takes a while until there's an acceptance. People are fearful of new innovative products. But within a short period of time, within 6 months, we've already secured some major customers. And it's always people. The biggest thing that we actually go up against with this is people don't believe how easy this is. So there's always that little bit of doubt. They always try to say, hang on, this can't be real. You know what? You just take the sweat off your fingertips and you can do a drug test. And what you can do 4 different drugs with 1 cartridge, and it only takes 10 minutes. This can't be real. So it's just that whole wow factor that you just have to convince them and show them the evidence, show them the results. Because we've done over 500,000 tests worldwide already. and people, with results, and the accuracy and specificity and sensitivity of this product is in the high 90s. So showing that, getting the people to trust the product, and the uptake has been, like I said, very, very fast. So much so that we've been able to, we launched it in Australia, and we're already getting regions from outside of Australia inquiring if they can sell it within their region. So we're going through that process, selecting the right distributors and the right partners throughout Asia Pacific. So very exciting times, good uptake. And because this is kind of a razor blade model as well, the product itself, it has a reader. So the reader does most of the work, and that's just the size of a football. It's a little small reader. It's portable as well. And the ability of this reader is it has a battery life. So you can take this reader wherever you want. You can take it on the shop floor. You can take it in the bus depot. So you can take the test where you want to take the test, where traditionally people have to either go send it back to a lab or go to a special facility. This is full mobile. So the applications of this product is enormous. So the razor blade model is, as we increase our install base, or our customers, once they buy that reader and a few cartridges, they just continue to buy that. So we've got a few customers, like I said, just over 10 in Australia and growing as we speak. And then what you will find is that business will continue, because you've got these customers continuously ordering cartridges as they do more and more tests. So very successful, and we're ready to hopefully announce some of the new regions that we'll be going into in the early next year throughout Asia.
Can you talk a little bit about that, Harry? What other geographies you plan to target, especially what regulatory approvals do you need for that?
Yeah, so it really depends on the region. So, for example, in Australia, our regulatory pathway was not as tough as it is in the US. So that what gave us the ability to go in market a lot faster. So we're going through those pathways right now in terms of the rest of the places in Asia. And as you know, Asia has many, it's not one region. It consists of multiple countries. So everything has its little nuances. But what we're finding is we believe that we'll be announcing some key partners within Southeast Asia. These include Thailand, Vietnam, and possibly Malaysia in the early Q1. And then we're really targeting some of the more difficult regions, but has more opportunity, Korea and Japan. So our goal in Korea is we believe that we should be able to secure and sell product within Korea in Q2 next year, and Japan shortly following in Q3. The one that a lot of people ask me is, what about China? Right now, we put China on the back burner. There's a couple reasons for China. We don't want to go within China. While we do have patents, and we've got 11 different patents around the world protecting our technology, going to China can be a little bit tough, a little bit risky, and especially with these, especially with now the political unrest and uncertainty with China. Well, I'm going to put that one on the back burner for now. But the markets are so large outside of China. We've got enough markets to go after without looking into China at this stage.
Makes sense. Talk a little bit about your sales and commercialization strategy going forward. You seem to have an impressive customer count so far. So what's your strategy going forward?
Yeah, so our strategy is, look, we do go direct in both the UK and Australia, but our go-to-market strategy moving forward will be via distributors. Finding those people, like I said, that are in market currently, that are selling other drug screening solutions, and really partnering with them to get them to sell our product. We've got enough margins within the products itself to give a little bit to distributors, and without outlying big capital and establishing our own workforce in those regions. So it will be a distributor model and partnering with them. And we're going through that process as we speak with a couple distributors now. And it's that venting those distributors is key for us, is ensuring you find the right distributor that will promote your product, market your product, and represent your company in the best way to ensure that when you do get that product into market, you get the fastest return, and you can get that product correctly within the market. So distributor model or partnership model, whichever one you want to call it, is our go-to-market strategy moving forward.
So your year-to-date sales stand at about 1.93 million. Tell us about the growth outlook and some key growth drivers over the next 12 to 24 months.
The growth numbers, and you've seen it probably from our last Qs. Look, we're growing. I wouldn't call it double digit. It's more like triple digits because we're coming off a low baseline as well. So you're expecting growth coming through, and the aspect for us is we're seeing big growth because, again, every time we sell a reader or a razor, we get razor blades coming through. So the biggest thing that we're seeing is our cartridges growth is really growing at about 30-40% quarter on quarter. Then year on year, they're growing in the 100% mark. So we're seeing some really big growth drivers coming through our cartridge business, which is our razor blades, and we'll continue to go through that. We expect to close the year up probably about 30% on last year, and our goal moving forward is really to double the business at least year on year, maybe a little bit more, and that all depends in terms of how fast we can get in each regions in terms of the distribution model. But the big one for us is when we get into the US, because that explodes and opens the doors for us. Playing in a $4 billion market with a big demand, and as we know that there's an increasing number of people, we're legalizing marijuana not only in the US but globally. So there is a bigger need, and we're seeing more and more people asking for drug screening to make sure when their employees come to work, they're not under the influence of marijuana or any other drug. So the US market is key for us. So our growth playbook, as you would call it, is really getting into the US so we can see those revenues get out of the millions and get into the tens and hundreds of millions is probably the overall strategy. And that all comes down to the robust FDA process that we have in place that we should be able to submit to the FDA within probably by the end of next year. We should be able to submit to the FDA.
Talk a little bit more about that, your capital allocation strategy, plans to use bolt-on acquisitions to grow your business. What is your plan?
At this stage, we've got a very good product, and we'll be spending all our money to commercialize and get this product into as many markets as possible. So that's probably all the use of our funds is really to drive the commercialization of this product globally. We don't have any other plans on bolt-on acquisitions at this point. Now, that said, and if there's anything good that comes across the table and it makes sense and it goes with our vision of non-invasive products, we'll have a look at it. But at this stage, all our capital is to grow this product. It comes down to our three key strategies: is globalize the product as wherever we can that doesn't require regulatory approval, so really increase the revenue base coming through there. The second one is to get into the US, and that's the FDA process that we're focusing on. And the third one is because this is a platform technology, there are some other applications that we can use across the healthcare industry. So we're looking at developing our product and looking at some areas in terms of what kind of testing can we further develop this product, because it is proven, it does work, and the ability just to change some of the essays and looking at really what we can do around other healthcare applications. It could be used for allergies. It could be used for pregnancy tests. It could be used for ketone testing. We don't know yet. So we're looking at that as well. But the key ones as us is globalize the product, get more and more readers out there so we can get more cartridges coming through and get into the US as fast as we can.
And Cam, a viewer wants to know, where are you in developing testing for fentanyl?
Fentanyl. So we've actually we've done it in the lab ourselves. We have got the capability of doing what we call a back to lab process. So we collect the sweat right now, and then we can send it back to the lab and we can analyze it there. So we can do fentanyl on our aspect. The next phase is developing it so we can do that point of care, so we can do it right at that point, like the other drug screening. So it's under development. But it does come down to, Anna, are we going to actually commercialize this product or not? And that depends in terms of, is there a big enough demand for fentanyl testing is the one. And second of all, because we found that fentanyl believe it or not, is actually used to lace other drugs as well, so like cocaine or other opiates. So we're already testing for drugs that are being used, that lacing aspect. If there is a big enough need for our customers, we will be able to provide that solution. So under development for the point of care, but it is in place for back to lab confirmation tests that we did announce probably about 3 to 4 months ago.
And Stan Buchanan asks, who else is doing this? Do you have a competitor out there?
No one that can do it on sweat. So we're the only ones. So we're the only ones. And so we're very excited with that aspect. So yeah, at this stage, no one, and we've got enough patents in there to protect our technology as well.
And Marcella asks, are your customers large corporations who drug test their employees? And if so, how many do you have?
Okay, so the customer base is increasing. So we're probably approximately 370 companies now. They range from a size of 100 employees up to 5 to 10,000 employees. P&O is a big one for us, which is a big cruise industry. We've secured some big customers. As we would say them in Australia, they're pretty big customers in terms of a construction standpoint. So yeah, we are getting more and more customers. But the key thing about the customers that we are acquiring, it's not just in one industry. So they range across construction, mining, agriculture, transportation, airlines. So we're getting a lot of industries that we're getting through. Now, have we cracked some of the big corporates? That's one of our next goal, that we go after a big multinational. But we really need to be in the US first to be able to crack these multinationals, because most of the multinationals are US anyway. So unless you have that FDA approved aspect, it's going to be a bit challenging. But that said, we do have some good opportunities that we're working on as we speak.
And Jan Vaughn wants to know if you work for any government agencies or municipalities. No government agency contracts as we speak, but we're in the process of talking to some of the big governments, both in the UK and in Australia. Government, as people would probably understand, it takes a little bit longer to actually crack. There's a lot more hoops you have to jump through, and somersaults and whatever you want to call it, to get through those governments. But we're progressing well, so we're talking to the right people. In the US, we'll be doing the very similar as soon as we get closer to that FDA process. So we're going to be starting some activity in Q2 next year in the US, because we're going to get ready in market. So we're going to be doing a lot of pre-marketing before we get that FDA approval, and to be ready, because once we get approved, those gates are going to be opening, and we need to be ready beforehand. And Tom Hopkins wants to know a little bit about your sales team.
So we've got a small sales team currently. We're approximately 8 people. That's both in the UK and in Australia. Most of the Australia team have come from industry, from our competitors. It was funny when we actually went through the hiring process to go through it. As we had a lot of people from the competitors wanting to join us, because they said, look, once you get in market, it's game over, and we won't have a job because you guys will kind of clean up. So we were finding a lot of these people coming to us. So in Australia, it's from competitors, sales people hitting the ground running. And from the UK, we've got a range of people from experience in occupational health and safety, and within sales experience. So good sales team, small sales team as we go through, but the goal is moving forward is not putting, we're not big enough to invest ourselves in terms of salespeople, so we'll be doing it by distributors, as I mentioned before.
Makes sense. Phil wants to know, what type of data do you store on your platform once the test is taken, and is that monetized in any way?
What a great question. At this, yes, we do collect data. We collect non-identified data. Obviously, we can't have the individual's name for privacy. So we do collect that data. It is stored. That data can be used by the company. It can be downloaded. They can file it, whatever they want to do for the results. But at this stage, we don't. And that's some of the further plans in terms of what we're looking into. We're collecting a lot of data in terms of test, individuals, whether they are positive or negative, what kind of work environment. We do see an opportunity to monetize this going forward. And it is in our development pipeline in terms of our current readers of what we can do and how do we take it to the next level. So, in the near future, and when I say near future, probably after we get FDA approval. So in the year 2025, you'll probably see a version 2.0 for our reader that has Wi-Fi capability and a lot more in terms of digital capability as well.
Are you on track to receive NATA in Q4? If not, what are the guidelines needing to be met for receiving that?
Okay, yeah, so NATA or NATA, which is a National Australia Toxicology Association, we should be on track on that. That's just a matter of we've done the review, they've done the audit, they've looked at everything, so we're just waiting for that. And what this is a third-party organisation which is very recognised in Australia, that are just focused on this area in terms of drug screening, and being able to be certified by them being a recognized product, it will open the opportunity. So we're on track. Hopefully before Christmas, if Santa's good for us, they'll deliver us that certification under our Christmas tree by Christmas. But if not, we're expecting it shortly after. So we don't see any concerns with that. It's a matter of timing.
Maya Johnson asks, how much is each unit and cartridge?
Okay, so the reader itself, it's the price, believe it or not, only the price of a mobile phone. So it's about $1,000 for a reader. That reader, can do as many tests as you want. So get one reader and you're done forever. And then the cartridge itself, and I got one of the cartridges in my hand. The cartridge itself, it's approximately $20. So of a price of 2 coffees and a bagel, you're done. Okay, so you can do that test, which is a very, very affordable test. So you can screen individuals, and one of those cartridges that costs $20 does 4 different tests. So it does test simultaneously marijuana, opiates, methamphetamines, and cocaine.
And Joe Jensen wants to know, do your turnaround times for results vary? And will future technology allow faster returns?
No, it doesn't vary. It's 10 minutes on the dot for each a single test. If you do a batch test, you can actually do 6 within 10 minutes. So if you average it out, it's shorter. But we're actually restricted by chemistry, believe it or not. It's the only reason, because the technology we use is what is called lateral flow, which is very similar to our good old COVID tests. Remember when we did our COVID tests ourselves, it used to take 10 minutes and that was it. It's the same amount, because once we take the sample and the buffer solution, which is inbuilt in our cartridge, you press that, it just takes 10 minutes for that to go across, read the results, and the reader reads it. So unfortunately, we can't do it any faster. But what we have found, 10 minutes, being able to do that in 10 minutes, by the time you enter the person's details within the system, get the person to sit down and they have a cup of coffee, you've got the results. So that timing doesn't really bother us. In fact, it's a lot faster than a lot of other tests out there. So.
I'm going to combine 2 questions from Joe and Mickey. Talk about the revenue model. Plus, is there a monthly subscription? And if there is a subscription service on your end that needs to be maintained to be able to screen accurately moving forward? And if so, would a rise in this cost be detrimental to margins? Can you talk about that?
Yep, no subscriptions. So it's virtually you buy the reader and you buy the cartridge when you want to buy the cartridge. So it's very, very simple and on that. And the first part, and I forgot the first part of the question. Sorry.
Yeah, you're fine. I'm trying to get it back to just more about the revenue model. If you can break down the revenue model.
Yeah. Okay. So the revenue model is, for us, it's made up of 3 aspects really. Every time we have a sale, one is the reader, one is the cartridge, and we do sell some peripheral accessories with the solution as well. And that includes a small printer if the customer wants to print it, which we give them that ability, and some cases to protect the reader or cartridges. But the majority of the revenue now comes from the reader itself and the cartridge. Now, the reader model represents a large part. Last quarter was probably 50% of the overall revenue was the readers, and that readers, because we need that to continue, because the more and more readers that we sell, that means the more and more install base. But what we're seeing that is increasing is the amount of cartridges. So this is a razor blade model. So you will have a very robust reader revenue, but that cartridge revenue is the one that's really increasing. As we get more and more readers out there, you get more and more cartridge demands. So that's kind of the revenue model there.
And Russell wants to know, when do you expect to be cash flow positive?
Look, that all depends on revenue in terms of when it comes in. Hopefully it's sooner than later. We've got a plan that should be breaking by the end of 2024, early 2025. Once we're in the US, we know that we're going to be positive anyway. But it really depends on the successful track that we go forward next year in terms of the regions we bring on board. So that could be earlier than the end of 2024.
And can you, someone's asking an ETA on the FDA approval. I know you talked about that a lot, but is it just waiting on Santa?
No, so what it will be is we will do, there's a couple milestones that we're going through from the FDA. And one is we'll be doing clinical trials in Q1 and having that all prepared and done. We have an audit of the manufacturing facility in Q2. We'll collate all that material, go back and forth with the FDA. So we expect to submit to the FDA by the end of Q3, early Q4, and then it all depends on how long the FDA takes. But if all goes well, and as expected with that time period, we're planning to have an approval by end of Q4, early 2025, Q1.
And a question from Maya talking about the cost of testing this versus traditional urine testing. What's better? Can you give us a percentage?
Well, for me, what's better is I don't want to urinate in a cup or watch someone do it. So that's just put that aside. In terms of the costing standpoint, it really depends, because it's kind of an open-ended question. Because if you do a traditional urine test and you get it back to lab, and you send it the urine test, that could be $90 up to $150, depending on which lab you're using. You can get the cheap and nasty one that you test it yourself if you really want to play around with urine on site, and that could range for anywhere from $20 to $40. But it's all the other equipment, your gloves, your face mask, your little cup and your vials. So that could be added cost. I know people put it in there. And if you're testing yourself, you need an individual that is, trained and doing these tests on site as well. So that could be an increased cost. With all the models, and we just announced it, like I said, the recent one, a customer turned around and said they had a 90% reduction in their testing because they were using our technology via the traditional urine test.
Well, there you go. Harry, this is fascinating stuff. I'd love for you to close with a question about why INBS is a good investment. Talk about that. And then it was a great time talking with you today.
No, thanks, Anna, and I'll close it out. And I really appreciate the time. Look, we are, from my standpoint, we are a growing company with a commercially available product. It has CE marking and will be in the US very shortly after we get FDA approval. So we have a razor blade model with a technology that no one else has in the industry. And we're really changing the way we're doing drug screening to ensuring that we have safe employers that are out there driving their buses and their planes and et cetera. So, and we have other testing applications of this product that we can actually apply to healthcare. So great technology, commercially available, and will be in the US soon.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us on the conference. We would love to see you back in 2024 with all of your successful updates.
Thanks, Anna. Really appreciate the time.
All right. Thank you, Harry. Okay, everyone, stay with us. We'll be back at 3:10 Eastern Time with an update from Findex Technologies. We'll be back.